Hi everyone, my name is Pawan, and if you've seen my previous videos by now, you would know that I'm trying to record videos for questions which I think could get asked during your Frontend interview questions, during a Frontend interviews. And the question that I'm going to cover today is two-way data binding. Um, so this is a common thing with used in frameworks, and Angular, I think, was probably the first one which actually made the double or the two-way data binding very popular. And there are other frameworks today which do something similar, like Svelte does. Angular, I believe, still does it, but React is always a single way pattern. It's not a double way data binding. But let's go ahead and try implementing this. This actually will test you with your understanding of objects in JavaScript and how you could actually uh, apply certain rules to an object. Like you can freeze an object, you can make it non-mutable by making the writable false, and then you can listen to the getters and setters of the object value changing. What the expectation of the question is that if you have a document node and you have a state, so whenever you're changing the value of the state, you expect the value of the document node to change, and the vice versa, where if somebody is applying and going and changing the document or the input value, they're also going to change the state value. Uh, is the expectation of this question, which is the two-way data binding. So let's go ahead and implement it. I'll go with the simpler approach. Obviously, you can extend this and do a lot more. Uh, but the most important thing is understanding how do you set properties for an object to make it non-mutable, or listening to the getters and setters, which is using object.define property, which is going to be the key of this question. So let's start right now. First, let's put the element.value equals state.value. So whenever somebody is calling this function, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to assign the value of the element as this value which is there in the state. Now we're going to use object.define property. This is the key over here. It takes three parameters, which is the first one is the object itself, the state. What value in the object would you be applying your rules, or would you be having getters and setters applied to? So in this case, it's going to be value. And third is going to be an object, which has got different properties. The one that is important for this question is get. And the second one is set. This is actually very critical. And if you understand this, you will be able to understand even how frameworks work, or how a store works internally with event emitters, and also how when you change the value of a store, you can actually trigger an event which can go and notify anyone in the store for a value that is changing. This is I've built frameworks within my company, and I've used this extensively, especially if you're having logic like state and you want to notify anytime when the state is changing for anyone who's using that state. So in this case, the get value and the set will actually have a value for it. So what we're going to do is we're going to assign the value of the element as the value over here. And for the get, for the simplification of this question, we're just going to return the value of the element. Cool. So that's it. I mean, it's as simple as this, where you're listening to the define property and you are going and having the getter and setter. So let's try running this code. Awesome. So it passed all the tests. You can obviously do the same thing for the element too. And whenever the element value is changing, you can actually go and have the same object.define property and do the same logic over here of going and changing the state. If you want a true two-way data binding, but for this question and for the test cases, this is more than enough. You can explain that you could do the same thing and apply the same thing for even when the value of the element changes. Awesome. So this is two-way data binding, or a simple two-way data binding, not overcomplicating it. And the key is using object.define property. Thank you, folks. As I said, I'll keep recording more videos.